Take off all these clamps now that it's dry, and hopefully there's no big gaps anywhere that we'll have to fill. Gaps here along the edge, and that actually looks pretty good. So now is the time that we can finally start sanding the edges and all the way around. We're gonna make this look good and then sand the top as well and make this ready to put on the body. What we're gonna use is this belt sander, but to be able to use it, I need more length. So we're going to remove this table. This table weighs a pretty good amount, so please let me know before. I'll give you the proper Allen wrench, and there's 2 screws under the table that we unscrew for this to come out. First one comes out easy because the other one's holding it. Just set it behind you on the table saw table, whatever. So loosen this, and you can see it already drops. Then put your hand under it and loosen it the rest of the way until it comes out. This is not light. It's at least 25 pounds. Once it's off, now we have the entire face to use, and I'm even going to open that so we can use this curve as well. Now we take your piece and you're gonna put it against the sander, and this little area that curves out is almost perfect with this edge, this curved top. So you gotta be careful not to let the curve go any higher. We don't want to make this smaller yet. I mean, we don't want to hit here quite yet. We're just doing here in the edge where it flares out. And we're going to match where this piece hits the fretboard. We want that to be flush. Now in doing so, that's gonna put a flat spot on my nicely sanded neck. That's okay. We're just gonna go back by hand and blend all that in just like we did before the first time. So we're gonna do it this way here, and then we flip around and do it the same thing but on the other side. Just gently. You want to be gentle and you don't want to turn. But I am going to go back and forth until I see everything is sanded. So I've sanded here, but not here. So I just need to keep going. Okay, it's getting better, but I still have some missed spots. Close. I've got all this, now just a little left there. Good. This edge is done. I still have to match this a little bit better. To do that, I have to put my head on the other side so I can see how far I need to go. There. That's it. Now I flip it around and do the exact same thing but on the opposite side. There, that one went a little faster than the first one. Now I do the same thing. Good. So now it's good all the way up to here, flared on the ends here. Now I got to worry about this side and this side. Now I flip it the other way and I have to look. So I have to stick my head in there so I can see where that's going. And I look until that's flat. I look and see, and now I have to sand some more. Ooh, that's pretty good. Flip it around and do it again. All right, so now I have this side flat, that side's flat. The transition here is a little bit messy, so I'm just going to continue with that, make that look a little better. That's pretty good. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking, are the transitions the same height? This one's a bit higher than this one, so I'll need to sand that up a little bit. So I look this side, just a little taller than that one, still a little higher. There, that looks good. So now I have to go back and blend in all this flat area that's now on here, because it goes flat and then it starts to curve, and I need to blend that out. The only thing left is I need to sand the top. As you can see, there's still that overhang, and I can do that on the sander behind me. In my case, I had to switch this back to a smaller one to match this curve, which is totally fine. Do what you got to do. Then just sand until they look flush. Now we go back to our 100 grit. We have our 120 and our 220 right here. And it's gonna take a little while to just sand this down. But we also wanna sand the sharp edges here. There's a little bit of fuzziness that the sander didn't quite get, and we're just gonna round this a little. The key with this is we need to keep this flat for the pins, same on the back. That's why I didn't round these ever, not like this. I wanna keep them flat so it's a flat surface for when we put the tightening machines for the strings. But at this point, let's just take 100 and start rounding that area off and making it blend really well. In addition, remember that, we marked the holes on before, but mostly that was just for distance, we didn't want to make this too short. Now we're going to put it on, mark the holes again, and we're going to drill those in a moment. Make sure to keep the nut spacing there. So slide it in and keeping that 1/8 inch gap for the nut to fit in. Put it nice and straight, and then go ahead and mark those 4 holes one more time. There we go. And we're gonna take an awl and poke those here in a few minutes. But for now, sanding. Once you finish your sanding and everything is nicely blended, it's really smooth. And at this point, of course, you would have hit the 220 all over the place. So it's finished sanded. Taking a scratch awl, it's got a sharp point on it, put it right on the hole and push hard and move it around. We want a nice hole there so that the drill bit doesn't wander off and put it in the wrong place. Right there, and one more right here, there. So they're all nicely spaced and they're gonna be there. Next, we're gonna drill these on the drill press. Here at the drill press, we need 11 30-seconds bit, 11 30-seconds. It's kind of an odd size, but it is accurate. This is right. This tip is kind of like our drills, where you have to hold the one side and tighten or loosen the other one to get this in. That should go in right there. Make sure to pull it out of hair and then cinch it tight. To turn it on, the big red switch just above camera, just pull it out and it turns on. Now, the problem with this is the neck, the head doesn't sit flat because it's tilted, it's bent. So we need something to kind of raise this up off the table. So in my case, I just grabbed a piece of 2x4 that I have laying in the back room. So now I can set it flat on something and the neck can hang low. All right, so your job now is to line up the tip of this with each one of those holes that you marked with the awl and go all the way through. Take your time in lining it up. I actually drill a hair and lift to make sure I'm in the right place, and then go nice and slow all the way through. There you go. You'll feel it come out the other side. Make sure you have a hole all the way on the other side. Clear out any sawdust, because we do not want this piece to be tilted in any way. There we go, that's right. And because we used an awl to kind of pre-start the hole, it should help line up the drill bit. Okay, I'm gonna move that to a new spot, push it back, do it again. And there we go, we're done. Any tear out on the other side, just sand it off. Any tear on the front, do the same. But the holes are in place, and now we're ready. After you're done sanding everything, these frets, these metal bars are still just a little bit sharp. So take some 220 grit, the really fine stuff, and at an angle, sand those off until it's comfortable. It shouldn't take a lot of sanding, but we just don't want those to be sticking in, much less cutting your finger, but we certainly don't want them to slice the strings. Take a moment as well and kind of sand off the sharp edges on the end of your fret board. Might as well do that now. That looks good. Just enough to get rid of the sharp edge. All right, so it's still a little sharp here, that's fine. The nut will go there later on. We're gonna glue that in after we lacquer it. But everything has been rounded and smooth. I took the sandpaper and took care of the sharp edges everywhere, took care of the faces, and we're good to go. The last thing we need to do is we're going to put these little wooden dowels in the holes and have them stick out. Once that's done, your neck is officially finished until we can attach it to the body. So, a little drop of glue. And when I say small, I mean just a drop. There. Kind of even that out so it's out of the way. And then simply put these in, whack it with a hammer. There, that's as deep as they go. Now these, if they don't line up quite right, I may have you shape these a little, sand them, even cut them a little shorter, we'll see. But these won't be changing at all. Your neck is now complete. Be very careful, try not to get any wet glue touched anywhere, and don't drop it.